Should I be concerned that you have a folder called Mum Stuff?
No. So we are back watching House of the Dragon, Season 2. Going to kickstart. Great start. Do you want to give us a recap, roundup of Season 1? Thoughts, feelings, where we're up to? Do you want to give it a go?
Easy. One of Rhaenys' kids got turned into fucking dragon food. Big dragon ate little dragon. Boom, we're all going to see a fight. Let's go.
I just want to see episode 1.
Now, before we get into it, Rich, do you want to tell the people to like and subscribe?
Have you actually liked and subscribed to the channel? Okay. I have, so you should.
They got a budget this time.
Tell you what, I'll be so disappointed if there is no dragon fighting.
Sure there will.
Duty is sacrifice. The North owes a great duty to the Seven Kingdoms. Through its long tradition, the Night's Watch cultivated its strength from doomed men. But my ancestor, Torrhen Stark, 1 in 10 men from our household, was to be chosen to fortify the Watch.
So that's what happened to the lead singer of Panic at the Disco.
Shut up. Shut up. He was a great man.
Oh, these two are totally going to end up sleeping together.
It pleases me to think that over a century ago our ancestors treated in this very place.
You, at least, had the mercy not to threaten me with your dragon.
Do you know the same lift company has been servicing that lift for 200 years? It still works.
Surely the great Torrhen Stark would have sooner died than bent the knee. The realm will soon tear itself apart. If men do not remember the oath sworn to King Viserys, whilst your men guard against wildlings and weather, the High Tower's plan to usurp the throne. She needs an army. War is coming.
Do you think my ancestors built a 700-foot wall of ice to keep out snow and savages?
What does it keep out?
Your mum.
Things. Whenever I see that wall, I just think about season 7, episode 6, where the dragon just goes and it's just incredible.
If your greybeards can fight, the Queen will have them.
A raven's arrived.
We're flying out.
I alone patrol over 100 miles of open sea.
We're going to King's Landing.
To what end?
Make it a son for a son.
Was this the Queen's command?
The Queen remains absent.
She is grieving. It was a raven that brought me news of Laena's death.
What if Aemond were to happen upon her?
Then I would pity Aemond. She's not acted on the vengeful impulse that others might have.
If you'd have acted when you had the chance, Aegon's line would be extinguished.
That's going to keep coming back, that opportunity, isn't it? I mean, that's never...
It is a command.
Would that you were the king.
Damn.
My lord.
It's a marvel she was able to return from the Stepstones at all.
7 more ships put out to sea this morning to fortify the blockade.
I must have my ship back at sea.
But I'll have a word with my brother to see what reinforcements the shipwrights can muster. The smithy delivered this earlier.
I had this commissioned for Prince Lucerys. They tell me that you're the one that dragged my body out of the sea.
It was only my duty.
I am indebted to you, Alan.
Mind your post!
Yes, sir.
Dragon! Arm the Scorpion! Scorpion ready!
Man, his wings look well tatty and fucked.
But they always were, though. They always...
Where is Jaehaerys?
Attending his lessons. What do you need of him?
Taken into the small council.
What if he does not want to be king?
Where is he?
I'm afraid.
They'd be fools to come with Vhagar protecting the city.
Not the dragons. The rats.
The Queen is an enduring mystery.
Dinner time in King's Landing.
It's the cauldron. Yeah.
Damn. She'll call him Queen Slayer.
Summer is well and truly through.
We are expected at the small council, Your Grace. Yes, Your Grace. If you wouldn't mind.
Putting on his little cape.
It amazes me because he absolutely murks somebody at a gala event, and he doesn't. He's still a Kingsguard. He's still fine, you know.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Good morrow, my lords.
Forgot right at the end, didn't he? Got made king, and he had the ceremony, and
Well, that was what Matt Damon by time saying to her, wasn't it? Like, you had the chance.
yeah.
Prince Aemon's marriage pact to the Lady Florid.
My brother is raising the strength of the West to master the Golden Tooth.
My letters to Rhaenyra. Has there been any answer?
An apology for her dead son?
None, Your Grace.
Perhaps your grace might lend his voice to our outreach.
Enough! At once. Would someone please...
Is the heir to the throne bothering you, Tyland?
No. No, not in the least, Your Grace.
Because I think he wants a ride.
There are important matters to discuss. Despite Sir Tyland's interruptions.
No time for amusements, Tyland.
Rhaenyra's blockade has placed King's Landing under strain.
Well, we should have just killed her when we had the chance.
If we are to break the Sea Snake's blockade, we will need to bolster both the Lannister and Hightower navies.
Aemon, what is your business here?
The king summoned me.
You...
Path to King's Landing is through the Riverlands. We must establish a toehold there.
And we can burn the blockade while we're at it.
Rhaenyra has dragons as well.
Mine are bigger.
And Vhagar is needed here to deter Rhaenyra from attacking, in retribution for the death of her son.
We must now favour patience and restraint. I serve ravens by the hour, many and more. History and precedent.
It's amazing to me how the new blood they're just bored. They're frustrated. They want war. And all these older people are like, well, we shouldn't do that.
I have completed questioning the whole of the castle staff. I am satisfied I have exposed all who betrayed our trust.
And what of them?
They no longer breathe our air. I've chosen your new staff personally.
Oh dear.
Oh, the rat.
That's what his wife meant about the rats, isn't he?
Yeah. So they didn't put much of a focus on her in the first season, but every time she said something, it was kind of cryptic and weird.
Kind of wish he'd set them on fire.
Aegon the Magnanimous, second of his name, King of the Andals and
The Magnanimous?
Let's have the first petition, my good Lord Hand.
Good morrow, Your Grace.
It's all right. There's no reason to be nervous. And how might your king be of service?
'Tis my flock. A tenth of them taken by the crown. If I'd had the time to plan,
We should
perhaps.
return them. Well, you need your goats for the winter, don't you? I shall make your flock of sheep whole.
Perhaps we could just return his sheep. He came all this way.
If you return one herd of sheep, Your Grace, you'll soon find them all at the foot of your throne expecting the same.
They won't know.
When the king speaks, Your Grace, all hear it.
Well, he's so out of his depth.
Give him some fucking money then.
After further thought,
Hugh, Your Grace. The Smiths are all proud to support Your Grace against Rhaenyra. But iron costs have grown. If we could but have the crown's coin before we started work, it would bring great relief.
You shall be paid, and paid well. My army cannot win a war without your weapons. You should continue their making.
Well, he's not wrong. I just...
You have my most sincere gratitude,
I don't
Your
like,
Grace.
dude. It's like,
I'll hear
this
the
isn't
next
how we
petition.
normally do business.
He's gonna get bored really fucking quick.
Yes, Your Grace, it filled my heart to see you on the Iron Throne.
Thank you, my lord.
I wonder, do you have a moment for a quiet word? Is the Hand's want to keep a firm grip on things? You controlled your father the same way. Viserys had a certain reputation as being pliable.
I am aware.
I would think, as we find ourselves standing within a hair's breadth of war, that you would wish to be viewed differently.
How?
Otto Hightower was your father's hand, Your Grace.
Gonna need a new hand. Maybe he's gonna put himself
He's gonna be
forward
his brother.
as the hand.
Wonder if it'll be the brother.
Well, it'd either be
daughter.
That dude putting himself forward, or the brother.
Requested an audience. I find myself wondering.
Then the Hightowers are out.
And how would you define victory?
Rhaenyra bending the knee.
I am.
An ally would not repeatedly cut my legs from beneath me at that table of men.
These critical days since Viserys' passing haven't gone to plan.
That's not my fault. Aegon is ever eager to prove himself, and Aemond, Rhaenyra's son, took his eye and was never punished for it. What he did.
Aemon erred. But he is fiercely loyal. He wishes to please.
We only need to mind Aegon until the novelty of rule is spent. Once he tires of it, you and I can steer our course to victory.
But you must accept that the path to victory now is one of violence.
But that does not mean it must be wanton.
When last we met, there were 2 of you.
The White Worm.
Did you think I would wither in your absence?
How long have you been selling secrets to Otto Hightower?
As long as he had gold to pay for them.
You put Aegon on the throne.
That was the Hightower's conspiracy. I merely profited from knowing Aegon's movements.
But you did business that ended with the theft of the Queen's throne and the murder of her son.
You only... Otto Hightower was to me as I am to your noble ilk, fodder to be cast off.
She is to be treated as a traitor to the crown.
Forgive me, my prince, but the lady speaks the truth. She was no agent of the Hightowers.
What is it to you?
A matter of honor. It's why I abandoned the King's Guard.
Aegon was in your grasp. You should have killed him yourself.
I reckon our names of the King's Guard are just 8 and 10. And we swore the same oath. To defend the whole of the royal family. So what were we to do when they turned against one another? Lady of the 7 Kingdoms and protector of the realm.
Did you find what you needed? Your counsel stands at the ready, Your Grace. I will fly to Harrenhal at your command and set our toehold in the Riverlands.
Grace, my lord husband's blockade of the gullet moves into place. All seaborne travel and trade to King's Landing will soon be cut off.
I want Aemond Targaryen.
In your years as merchant of gossip, you surely accumulated spies within the Red Keep, servants who knew the comings and goings, your knowledge in exchange for your freedom.
Lady Jane Arryn has pledged her support in exchange for a dragon to guard the Vale. Lord Kraken Stark has promised 2,000 men.
A tribute.
Commander.
I'm told you bear a mislike for the Hightowers.
Fuck the Hightowers.
The White Worm said you're one of Aegon's rat catchers. You must be busy. Her ghost told me you're a betting man. How deep your debts? I was also given to understand that you possess a unique knowledge of the Red Keep. This is my friend. Tonight he's going to be your friend. You're to find and slay the Prince Aemon Targaryen. But I understand he's quite good in a fight. You want to take caution?
All right. What if we can't find him?
We've wasted precious days in this war of quills and ravens. You should be leading the van. And I should be flying cover on Vhagar.
Well, mayhaps we could petition the king.
My brother is hostage to my grandsire and mother. And they tell him that a war of dragons can yet be avoided.
Otto fears to upset the order of things.
And Alicent is simply...
angry.
She blames me for starting this war, after she plotted with my father's council to usurp his throne.
She has a gentle heart.
Ice cream. In King's Landing.
Tell you what, I could totally go for a 99 float right now.
Return to your post, Lord Commander. I must have a word with the Prince. It would concern me, grandson, if plans were being considered beyond the ears of your king and his hand. I was young once myself.
I only wish to serve my king and my house.
You and Vhagar are the greatest single power in the realm. But there are many pieces at play here. I promise you, Aemond, you will have all the vengeance that you seek, but you must keep a grip on your impulses.
Take that. Bring the dog.
What?
Needs to be a symbol for the small folk.
It's a king.
Loved or stuckling.
Oh, but you're the king. Who gives a shit what they say?
Keep your eyes
I
down.
need a style.
Maybe Aegon the Generous, then. That would charm the small folk.
How do we get upstairs?
The royals live up there. Different group of rat catchers work the upstairs.
If we're to kill a royal fucking prince, where do you think we're gonna find him?
I got you in the castle.
I could end you right here. Take the rest of the gold myself.
I just don't know my way around. Back off. This way.
Oh, look, doggo.
I don't know. Alright, okay, alright. That's alright. Don't know why I think a dog is going to be relevant for some reason. I don't know why.
No one's here.
Did you not hear the prince? No head. No gold. Set a trap.
Huh?
For the rats. Who the fuck is she?
She's the queen, she is.
A son for a son, he said.
Over there. We need to get our head and get out. They both look the same. Which one's a boy?
Maybe that one.
Do anything but what I ask, and I'll bleed the whole lot of you. Which?
I have a necklace.
That's not a son. It's the other one. She's not going to give up the king's heir that easy.
No. She's telling true.
Interesting.
Hold him down.
Are they cutting off the head?
They're meant to be there to get Aemond.
I mean, holy shit, what the fuck?
What's happened?
They killed the boy.
Holy shit.
Right then, boys. Episode 1's over. I'll go for Ports and Billions, but Pete's face says it all. Ports and Billions.
Right now, fuck. I've got to be honest, like, I was finding that episode a bit like that. It was a little bit lackluster, and then right at the end they just fucking nailed it with that. And I mean, that is grim.
Bit of child death does it for you, does it?
I mean, I've always reacted like with the childbirth deaths and shit like that. It's always been a bit like, you know, and it makes it good because it is pushing that comfort. But oh my god, I can't believe they brought that into it, and it's kind of gone from, hey, we got to kill this guy, to fuck it, a kid will do. Like their moral lines are just completely skewed.
Yeah, and it's also a bit like, in some ways, it shows the lack of intellect used with he was like, it's a boy, it's a son, it's the heir to the king, as if the king is old and decrepit and can't just make more sons.
Yeah.
Like, so what does it actually achieve?
Yeah. No, there's no. It's sort of. I think, like, you talk about like the morality and all of it as well. It's like in this whole episode, it's like the fact that Aemond has actively killed, you know, one of Rhaenyra's sons, and they're not even reacting to it. Really, they're just kind of saying it as if it's fact. Well, it is fact, but they're just like they're not. There's no admonition. There's nothing. There's just like a few side remarks, and it seems like you've got one group of people who is Otto, for example, who would have been like, I prefer it if you had just killed all of them, no moral qualms whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then you got the other side who are like, it should never have happened, and you know, like, oh fuck, what's her name? The Hightower daughter.
Said her name just a minute ago, didn't they?
I know. Brain just
Cassandra, whatever her name is, or something.
Doesn't matter. The Queen Mother.
Alicent,
that's it. Yeah, and Alicent, on the other hand, kind of being called out because she is, you know, she is overly emotional about these things, even if she's still trying to be.
Well, I would say I mean, yeah, they are perceiving it as emotional. I would say she's trying to err on the side of empathy.
Yeah. Or she's just being, not necessarily erring on it, she's just being that way.
Well, I would say, I'm only saying erring because she's being somewhat empathetic, but at the same time she's not being what I can call completely empathetic.
No,
to the situation. So, initial thoughts from you, Rich?
The episode was lackluster for a lot of the time, and I knew they were going to.
Felt like it's moving pieces around.
They're moving pieces around, reintroducing you to the characters, but nothing. I mean, as you said at the beginning, it pretty much finished where the last series. Sorry, start with the last series finished. But I knew it was going to finish on some sort of cliffhanger because they keep sort of talking about they're trying to avoid war, they're trying to avoid dragon conflict, all that sort of stuff. But no one was saying this is going to happen or this is going to happen. Nothing was really defining anything. And you said like with the death of Rhaenyra's son,
Luke.
Luke. Like it was a big deal at the end of the first season, but it wasn't really like you didn't see any backlash here. It was like people were just sort of going, okay, fine.
Well, I would say
I think
you
the
did.
the baby getting murdered is the bad backlash.
Well, no. Well, I mean, yes, that was the consequence.
Yeah.
I would say the backlash was her. You had that whole scene with Daemon saying she should be sorting out war. She should be being a queen. Where is she? And obviously, she's off mourning. And the second she came back, you've got to remember that when she ended season 1 on that episode, they were praising her, going, anyone else be in a war, everyone else be going for bloodshed. She's remaining perfectly calm. She's
quite reserved. Yeah,
she's being reserved, and then. At the start of this, they're saying that again, and then when she finally gets back and like, right, here's the situation, here's where the armies are, here's where the troops garrison, this is what we can do, what do you want to do? And she was like, I want Daemon.
Yeah, I want the prince.
Aemon Targaryen.
Yeah.
So I was like, to say that there wasn't.
Okay, so there wasn't. So no, not recompense, but there wasn't like right, we're all going to war. It was like right, what's his chops? Her partner. Is like right, I'm gonna take the lead here. I'm gonna try some sort of like sabotage attack here. I'm going to try and pay these guys off to commit murder. Of course, that blunder just starts happening. And what I liked about that scene is the fact that you send somebody off to kill someone and you think that's it, but actually the steps involved in it actually can go horribly wrong, and they have done here. So really, what I liked about the end of this episode is the fact that this second death is absolutely going to cause war. Like there's no question about it. The next scene you're going to see in episode 2 is a council basically going, we are attacking them and this is going to happen.
Do you know... Oh, sorry. Okay. And what's kind of interesting as well is, even though we thought that was a very shock ending, it was actually all set up for us as well, wasn't it? If you think about the early scenes, you got the kid's mum saying, I'm scared. Scared of what? The rats.
Yeah,
so you had that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they come in as rat catchers.
You also
had him bringing the kid to the small council.
Yeah.
And kind of and then you're sort of seeing, and what I liked about that is, like, we didn't see it at the time, we just thought, he's not taking his duty seriously as a king, where he's there just grinning away at the kid, but it shows that he actually has some genuine affection for the son. And then bringing right the way back to that end where, like, actually, they've been setting us all up for this.
They did.
And you're right, I think that
it's going to kick it off.
The Hightowers even talked about it, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Hightowers said when the novelty of being a leader wears off, this is the reality.
Yeah.
But what they were talking about is controlling him and taking over. But going back to what you were saying, that I think that death of that kid is going to have far more reach and effect.
Far more ramifications than killing Aemon.
Yeah.
Like, is Aemon?
Yeah, it's Aemon.
His
brother.
Aemon. Because Aemon, essentially is, as they pointed out there, you and your dragon are the single most dominant force that we have. And killing him, would have been a massive stroke of genius by the other side. How do you call them? The Reds or the Blacks? The Greens?
It's the Greens and the Blacks.
By the Blacks. And that would have really, crippled, I think, the king and his council and the attack they would... But this now is just going to stoke the fire. And I think, the king who's not really taking that seriously, he's going to take it very seriously. Aemond is going to be like, right, this is what we're going to do. I mean, they were already plotting. We saw that. We're already plotting, And this is what's going to send this impending war that everyone's dancing around into full gear. And I think that's what we're going to see over the next 2 or 3
I think
episodes.
What you're saying about Aemon as well is the fact that He was there in the throne room with his friends getting drunk. Those two guys walked straight past him. Nobody batted an eyelid. Nobody even thought to look at them.
Yeah.
I think he's going to, with everything that you're saying, like the fondness for the kid, the fact that he's going to sit there and go, my son was murdered while I was downstairs. I think it's going to be...
It's going to play on him.
You couldn't. I don't think you could have had Aemon dying to like first episode, because like you said, he's too
valuable.
He's a big part of the Greens' power.
Without him, they don't have much.
He's a big player, and he's dragon.
And also, I think the other theme as well that was quite strong is about the fallout of grief as well. Is that Otto was saying, we're still reeling from the king dying. We're not in a good place. And then you've got on the other side, you've got the blacks then, the response of that grief as well. Yeah. So you've got people, being very emotionally erratic. I mean, Aemond is the only one who's been holding on to
driven
vengeance
by their hearts rather than their minds.
Yeah. There's no kind of emotional balancing there, as much as people are trying. Aemond's just been pure, he's been hell bent on revenge since he lost his eye. But he's weirdly he's been. You see him as this ice character throughout the whole of season 1 after that event. Becoming powerful, claiming Vhagar. Becoming that single power, and then he just at the moment he's being very reserved.
Yeah.
But I think that there's going to be a point where he just fucking snaps, and I want to see the thing that makes him snap.
Maybe I don't know. His character surprises me every time. We'll have to see how it plays out.
He seems to be a guy who, when he takes action, he will take it to the fullest extent that he has to. The thing is though, like at the end of season 1, what happened was not really. I'm not saying it was his fault. He was, of course, being very combative, but the fact is, the dragons are what caused the outcome of that fight. He knows what he's done. I think he's been very calculated. He's been very kind of, he knows what he is doing, and it's sort of maybe underneath he's worried that he's going to lose control of Vhagar again, which he doesn't, which he can't have.
Maybe that might be something that comes into play.
Yeah, I just feel like that'll be like a X Factor type thing where when they need something to happen, his dragon goes berserk because his dragon's fucking
Maybe
gigantic.
It's the biggest. I mean, he's definitely playing his own game. You don't really know exactly what his main agenda is. He doesn't really speak much. That's what's intriguing about him. But who's Rhaenyra's? Who's Matt Smith play again?
Daemon.
So I mean, what a calculated move. He was such a fascinating character in the first season, but what a calculated move in that first episode, because it is somber. The whole kingdom is somber, with the king dying, with Rhaenyra's son dying. Really, it's quite like, you don't really expect much to happen. And then he sent these 2 rats into the castle to try and kill or to capture.
And I think this is why the timeline's important
and
as well, because if the more time had passed and they'd set themselves in as the new patriarchy and stuff, then there'd probably be less people willing to do it. But because it's such a new regime, he's caught them.
They find a guard that's very willing to do it for the right coin, and it was just so calculated to do that. Because I was thinking, why is this episode so somber? Like, why is it so? And you're right, it's what you said. It's because what Peter says, like the kingdom's still reeling. Like, they're all still like, what happened last week's terrible, and they're not expecting another disaster. And what a clever time to send these guys in.
It's not them that they're not expecting disaster,
but they're not.
They are. No, they are.
They're not on high alert.
Yes, they are. They even said it. They have Vhagar and Aemond at the palace because they think Rhaenyra is going to show up with a dragon. And what did they do? They sent 2 rats in through the sewer.
I think what you're talking about, you're right.
They're not expecting an attack. They expect. What I'm saying
is, I think you guys are talking about different areas. Like, you're talking about the whole kingdom are reeling, as opposed to the actual
Greens.
Yeah, the Greens themselves. That's a different kettle of fish. They're all geared up for war, but the general people are reeling from what's happened. They've lost their king. They've been told, "Here's a new king."
Yeah. King's Landing.
King's Landing. King's Landing.
Yeah.
Is reeling.
Yeah, exactly.
And not on like in war mode or on high alert or anything.
And that's why
I think one thing I just want to say is that in that scene where you saw the rat catcher going into the room and you saw one of the maids who didn't say anything, and you're kind of sitting there going, "Who are you for? Like, does she sit under that guy with the gimp foot, or is she because they're saying the rats are everywhere. The rats weren't necessarily the rats on the floor. It's
people,
and who are they?
And funnily enough, Clubfoot did say, like, there was that earlier scene where he told the Queen that, you know, all of the people that betrayed you and stuff, they're gone. They're no longer breathing air. Everyone in our employ has been chosen by me.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like, if you put two and together, that's right who should be going straight back to.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a very like unsettling time, really. The episode lures you into this kind of like very like lull, but actually anything can really happen at this point, especially in King's Landing.
Do you know the other thing I'm really enjoying? As like never thought like just a pair of sub characters that you didn't think about is the twins, where they've gone their separate ways, and one of them is at King's Landing, sort of following up on King's Garden, and the other one's working for Daemon and Rhaenyra, and the other one. It's just funny that you got these twins with their little subplot going on.
Unfortunately, I looked at that and thought, you know, this is this generation's, this season's, not season, but this show's spin on the Mountain and the Hound. At some point, those two will clash for different reasons. At some point, but I feel like they're copying that.
I like
that trope.
The difference is with the Mountain and the Hound, they'd already preset you with these two people hate each other and want to fight, whereas these are brothers that love each other.
For now,
who just so happen to have difference of opinions of how to protect.
Wait, so one of the brothers who did the whole baby cutting, he was the other brother?
No, not the baby cutting. Right, so the one who's with the Greens, you didn't really see much of him this episode. You saw him at the wall.
I know who you mean. Stuff. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
The other one, you mainly were with the other brother that went against the crown and went to Rhaenyra's.
Yeah, I'm glad they've made their characters likeable. Well, they've got completely different personalities in the Hound and the Mountain, because those guys
I don't see that as a comparison personally. I just see it as his twins that were together. They got to a point where right now, as he quite rightly pointed out to Daemon, look, our job was to protect the royal family. What do we do when the royal family split?
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you've got one's decide to go one way and one's decide to go the other way. I don't think there's a...
But they will inevitably clash from the two sides that they're fighting for.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if one defects the other. Could be wrong.
But I could foresee their clash being something where it would be... If they do clash, it would be one of duty, and I think one or the other would second guess fighting their brother.
Yeah,
maybe.
We'll see. The other thing something I like is the fact you've got these other little minor characters beginning to take shape.
I think from a scene and a director point of view, one thing I really enjoyed was the overlap between the burning of Luke's possessions, correlating with the
Queen praying.
Huh?
When she was praying with the candles.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like it was that crossover where she blew out the candle, and then it went into like a dark night. And the boat came in, and I thought that was just a really nice sequence. I just thought that was really, really well done.
Well, there's a lot of nice sequences in this. I mean, a lot of transitions, especially with the intro. Intro is really good.
Yeah. I'll say, in terms of transition stuff, I hadn't noticed so much in the first season, but if you go back and rewatch Game of Thrones, especially in the first few seasons, transitions between scenes were spot on. They always related to the previous scene in some visual way that wasn't being spoken about or said. It would just be like, it might end with a word of somebody mentioning the word dragon, and then next thing you know, it's like you're seeing Rhaenyra's and her dragons.
Right, yeah.
It's something that I think they've done, probably because the books were written in that sort of way. So it's nice to, like I said, it's nice to see that continuation of cinematography here, where they're transitioning things in a nice way between scenes to make you think about the next one. Like we said, like the setup, even though it was still a shock at the end, it's not as if you couldn't have pieced things together.
No,
to realise what was going. You could,
of course.
So that's what makes it.
I mean, I didn't. I genuinely didn't see that happening. So for me, it was nice because I don't. Yeah,
we only just. I'm going basically. I'm retrospectively piecing things together. Going. And they're the best kind of things. Is when they go, everything's here for the eagle-eyed, but no one will see it coming. Yeah, but it's all here.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, overall, I think if that last 5 minutes didn't happen, that would have been a 5 out of 10 episode at best.
I agree with you on that.
But I was quite the bit about the dog as well. I was like, you were like, "Where's the dog?" And that dog's going to be important. And I'm just like, "Dog's fucked off, mate. He's off having lunch."
Clearly, they couldn't pay him enough to stick around. But I mean, obviously the dog. You know, earlier on in the throne scene where the king is trying to carry out the demands or the wishes of the kingdom, you see him walking in the back, and he's basically doing his rat catching. So when he goes through the court, it's not necessarily, he doesn't get questioned.
Yeah, which makes it a good disguise.
Yeah, good disguise. Yeah, great disguise. But moving away from King's Landing, I actually really like the stuff at Winterfell and the Wall.
A bit at the beginning.
And the Stark we got introduced to. I don't know what his name is.
Cragen or something?
Taron Stark?
No, Taron, he was talking about
Taron
Stark.
But his name was
Stark or Craig Stark or something like that.
He's cool, he's good, I like him. I hope we see more of him at some point. Yeah.
I thought also the other, it's like they gave a different spin on how the Night's Watch were made, and that it was about honour, and not as we came to know it as basically if you fuck up you're
sentence,
taking the black.
right?
Yeah. But I mean, they obviously had that interweaved into it as well, because they tested, this is where we send those people, but also, and that's where I was talking about Taron or Stark. He was the one that introduced the idea. Actually, one person of your house will end up
1 in 10. Yeah,
1 in 10 going to the Wall.
Yeah, I think overall good episode. I really want to see what happens next, actually, because I reckon the dog is going to be the one to knock out his owner. They're going to find the dog in the castle, wandering around. And then when they can't find the two guys, they're going to fucking send the dog to find it.
That dog is at the start of an epic journey, an arc for his character.
Or he's going to end up getting stabbed in the first 10 seconds of the next episode.
Don't get Peter set on us.
Well, I mean, look, they killed a baby at the end of this one. The dog is next.
Peter don't care about the babies.
But I must say, I do love when they were standing on that wall and they were looking out. It just felt so, I don't know, Game of Thrones.
You're back in Game
of Thrones because I love the fact that they are like, we don't understand why this wall's here. It's been here for 800 years, but it's protecting us from something. I love the fact that we know what it stops them and how we get there. I love that.
Yeah, there wasn't even anything
his
there.
comment as well was like, why do you think this has built a 700-foot wall?
Yeah, and why the dragons wouldn't cross it. It's
but also at the same time, we're sitting there in the Age of Dragons going, a dragon would fucking melt that wall.
Well, not a dragon, but an undead dragon is very different.
Right. Any more for any more?
No, bring on the next one.
Okay, we'll see you in the next one.